Well, there was no official reaction yesterday for quite a long time until after Volodymyr Zelensky had met with the visiting US delegation led by the Army Minister Dan Driscoll, and then he was apparently presented with a document outlining the plan, which the Americans apparently told him was a work in progress. The Ukrainian reaction after that came in the form of a statement that came not from Volodymyr Zelensky's personal Twitter accounts and other social media accounts, which is where they habitually post, but from an account called the Office of the President of Ukraine. But there it said that Volodymyr Zelensky had been presented with a plan, and these are their words, which the Americans think will help to restart the diplomatic peace process, words to that effect. Anyway, and then saying that Ukraine was absolutely prepared to talk about this and to discuss any measures that could lead to lasting and just peace. Now, that clearly means that the Ukrainians want to seem diplomatic, want to show willing, but also that they didn't want to welcome this plan with open arms. There was certainly no praise for it, and that's very understandable because it looks, and this is what all the Ukrainian commentators are saying, very much like a plan for Ukraine's capitulation, in which Russia gets a lot of what it initially said were its war aims at the very beginning of this. Reduction of the size of Ukraine's army, a large swathe of territory. The big Ukrainian fear is that that would not actually stop the war, and in short order, Vladimir Putin would want to take even more territory or pursue his goal of toppling the Ukrainian government. There are also measures in the plan to make Russian a second official language. That is something that many Ukrainians, including Russian speakers, view as absolutely unacceptable because the promotion and strengthening of the Ukrainian language is regarded here as a very important part of the country's resistance against Russia, against Russian soft power. I asked people on this square where I am now this morning what they thought of the plan. And actually one man said, well, I think maybe we should agree to the part that's about giving up territory, but not to reducing the size of our army because we've got to defend ourselves. But he grimly seemed to think that Ukraine might have to agree to at least some of this. Another woman just told me she was extremely sad that this was an absolutely terrible plan and that Ukraine, of course, should resist from a moral point of view, but would this be possible? She wasn't so sure, and she was very sad indeed. I think the general feeling in Ukraine, and a lot of commentators have been saying this, is that this is a capitulation plan and it's some kind of a provocation. People have been comparing it to the way the Americans approached, if you remember, the agreement on Ukraine's rare earth minerals and other resources at the beginning of this year, with maximalist demands at the beginning and putting great pressure on Kyiv to sign something extremely quickly. And Ukrainian pundits are saying, look, this is the Americans' negotiating tactic. It's a bid to try to get things moving. And the thing to do is to keep calm and agree to talk about it, but not to sign it.